Hey everybody, my name is Kim and I'm an advocate with the Changing Spaces campaign, and this is my son Aiden, and Aiden's 9 years old, and we want to do a review today on the Foundation's stainless steel adult changing station. And we're doing this review from Aiden's bathroom, and behind us we have his changing table, which is the Armedica 1072, which we really like, and we'll do another review on that one. But for today, we're going to tell you about the Foundation's changing table. Now, as advocates for inclusion and accessibility of people, no matter their medical condition or disability, we always want to make sure that any changing table that we install is going to be accessible to any kind of user that may need it. It is important to make sure that the changing table is accessible to an older child like Aiden and their caregiver like myself, or an adult who has limited or no mobility and their caregiver, a wheelchair user who has the ability to transfer themselves onto the table, and a teen or adult who is mobile but too heavy to be lifted up by their caregiver. Almost 14% of adults in the United States have limited mobility, and over 10% have a cognitive disability. This is a large group of people with varying levels of mobility, and the changing table needs to meet the needs of all. So let's take a look at the Foundation's changing table. It pulls down from the wall pretty easily. So the first thing to notice about this changing station is that it's really not very big when you think about an adult. Now, a child would fit on this table very nicely. My 7-year-old laid on this exact table, and his head was here and his feet were here, and he's 7. So this is really too short for a tall adult. It's not very wide either. It's very, very narrow. So if you are taking care of an adult and need to turn them from side to side to take care of them, which you often do when changing the undergarments of an adult, because their legs are very heavy. So you don't lift their legs like you would a baby, you turn them, and there's just no room to roll side to side because this is so very narrow. Also, the edge of this table is pretty sharp, and we transferred on and off of this table a couple times, and what happens is if you sit on it and you move at all, your leg, the back of your leg gets trapped here, and then you sit and you get pinched. So this pinches you. Here is the little safety strap, which it's good that there's a safety strap here, but I think this could be more robust. As well as really what is needed is a safety side rail for people that have a movement disorder such as cerebral palsy or have epilepsy and can't control their movements. They wouldn't roll off. This changing table is certainly better than a baby changing table because it can include children as well as babies. However, this should not be called an adult changing station because it is not accessible to many adults who need it. The other thing is, because of where it needs to be mounted on the wall, it's quite a bit higher than where a wheelchair's seat surface would be. So someone would need to be lifted about 16 inches from the seat of the wheelchair up to the changing surface, which if they weigh more than 75 or 100 pounds may be just impossible for a caregiver to make that lift. Let's see what a caregiver would need to do to transfer their loved one onto this changing table.
That was extremely difficult. My daughter is 11 years old and weighs about 100 pounds, and I don't think I could have done that transfer if she's much heavier.
Unfortunately, because this table is not height adjustable, older children or adults who are too heavy to be lifted by their caregivers will not be able to get on top of it. The International Code Council recently wrote standards to say what best practices are for an adult changing station. And when they say adult changing station, they mean a changing station to be used for anyone, a baby, an older child, a teen, or an adult. Let me go over really quickly what those standards are. The changing surface must be at least 70 inches by 30 inches and comprised of non-porous and durable materials. The changing surface must be able to adjust in height between 17 inches to 38 inches above the floor. The table must include a side rail for safety, which is at least 2/3 the length of the changing surface and centered. It must be at least 5 inches tall and when raised, be able to lock in place, and it shouldn't be in the way when you're transferring the individual. Safety belts are highly recommended for the safety of the users. And lastly, the table should support at least 400 pounds in weight. Unfortunately, the Foundation's changing table does not meet the best practices for an adult changing table and is not inclusive to everyone. As of September 2022, this changing table is listed at just under $3,000. Let me remind you that this table is not height adjustable and the changing surface measures 4 feet 10 inches long by 20 inches wide. Let's compare that to some other more inclusive and accessible changing tables. The OmniMax Family Restroom Changing Table, size large, is a height adjustable changing table with much larger dimensions at 76 inches, which is 6 feet 4 inches long, and 30 inches wide. I was able to find this table online for as low as $2,939. Here is another changing table which is also more inclusive, the Armetica High-Low Changing Table, size large. It is height adjustable, and its changing surface also measures 76 inches, which is 6 feet 4 inches long, and 30 inches wide. I was able to find this table online for $2,647. So here's the question: why spend more money to get a less inclusive changing table? To summarize, this changing table is an upgrade from a baby changing table and will be more inclusive. It can include babies and older children, maybe up to age 10 or so. After that, the child will be probably too long to fit on this table and just too heavy for a caregiver to lift up to that height. So unfortunately, it doesn't include what it says it should include, which is adults, teens and adults. So this changing table is really not inclusive to a lot of people that actually need it. Aiden agrees. Aiden and I hope to do more reviews for you soon of other types of changing tables for you to consider for your business, your park, and your community. For more information, please visit www.changingspacescampaign.com.